Ah! Ah! Fucking happy holidays, you inbred retard. There's gotta be something a little milder than that. Happy fucking holidays, you goddamn low-class inbreds. I am your host, Zeke, as you know, and we are here. It is the holidays. It is the time of holly. It's the days of holly, and we are gonna do a really cool video of mine. We're gonna I want to try and Christmas this up a bit because I didn't do a Christmas video. Haha! Fuck yeah! Look at those sons of bitches. Hell yeah. Okay. Sweet. I'm a fucking reindeer. Rudolph the red-assed reindeer because I get spankings from my daddies. We are going to be talking about my New Year's resolution. I actually set a resolution for myself and I followed through with it, and I'm pretty proud of myself. My resolution was to get more involved in my consumption of movies and music. Both things very, very important to me. When it came to music, I would really just find random songs in either YouTube videos, or I would just find them in a radio, and I would say, hey, I like that, I should save that to my phone. I didn't want to keep doing that because I wasn't getting a lot of new music. Same with movies. I really would only watch new movies if a friend showed me it, or if I went to a movie theater. And I wanted to open up my portfolio of music that I've heard and movies that I've seen. So this year, I wanted to sit down, watch a lot of movies, and listen to a lot of music. And I actually got a pretty good list. For a whole year, it's not that big, but they're pretty big lists. So movies, obviously, I just watch those alone on their own. But music, I listen to whole albums or whole, or I guess just whole tracks. So some of them were only singles, some of them were were only 3-song collections. But then a lot of them were just full albums, you know? I think that we can just get right into this. So let's make this a Sour Cinema New Year's edition, and I don't have one for music. We'll call it Tart Tunes. Tart Tunes, ladies and gentlemen. Can I do something about this? God damn it. This freaking sucks. Alright, you know what? That's it. I'm not gonna be wearing this. That fucking hurts. Here, I got a Christmas bow on my office tree. Boom. Like that. You can't read the things. But hey, I'm a fucking Christmas tree. Alright, let's keep going. I wish I had a bow that I could just put right up there. I gotta make a disclaimer. Okay? I made this clarification in my Country Music Sucks chatterbox, if you guys remember that. I love music, I'd say, more than film, because I just feel so much more passionate about music. I'm much more personal with music. I think that's what it is. But I also understand it less. So talking about the music, it's not going to be as pristine and precise as I would like it to be, or at least not as pristine and precise as the movies. I'm not even claiming that I know a ton about movies, but I think I have a well enough understanding of film to be able to talk about them well enough. But I think that's all I have to say for a disclaimer. Whoops. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So my first movie of the year that I watched was Logan. Holy fucking shit. This was goddamn amazing. This is exactly what I like in a superhero movie. I'm sorry, maybe it's a bandwagon thing, but I absolutely love bringing the gritty, realistic world into superhero movies. I think that's why I don't like a lot of Marvel movies and DC movies as much as a movie like this. I've heard the argument before that superhero movies are supposed to be outlandish and out of this world. That's the point of them. If they weren't, then there wouldn't be such a thing as superhero movies. Sure, that's a good point. But guess what? When you watch a movie of a bunch of men running around in tights, it's kind of hard to take it seriously. You might get a spectacle out of it, but you're not going to have a deep connection with it because it's going to be really hard to take that seriously. And a movie like Logan or Winter Soldier or even Man of Steel, those are movies that they take a more realistic approach, and I like it. I like it more than movies like Justice League or Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like, I need some realism. And this movie was nothing but realism. You forgot about the fact, like, right away that that's a man that can literally push metal claws out of his fists. It was so good. I absolutely loved it. Acting all around was fucking spot on from everybody. The child actress was perfect. She wasn't just a good child actor. She was a good child actor that could reflect this same amount of rage and intensity as Hugh fucking Jackman, a man that is probably on steroids. Like, I was as scared of her as I was him. Oh my god, that is beautiful that they were able to pull that off. My one downside I would say to the movie is the enemies really didn't need to be there. They played a purpose, but they felt a little forced. It's not that they didn't have anything to do. They did. But like, everybody knew that the focus of the story was taking care of the girl, taking care of X-23. Something about it still just didn't mesh with the flow of the story. Like, you had the moments of, and this can be a good thing. I'm not saying that I didn't like it. I'm just saying it was probably the weakest part. But you would have the moments of, like, the road trips and the journey of Xavier and Logan trying to take her to Canada. And then they would just stop the flow of the movie and bring in the enemy again. I think that they could have pulled off the movie just as well without those guys. But I understand that you need a villain, so I can't really blame them there. So because of that, I give this movie a 9 out of 10. And then I did as many X-Men movies as I could get my hands on. The only X-Men movie that I didn't watch out of this whole list, and just in general, was Dark Phoenix. And from what I've heard, I'm okay with that. But I think that I'll do the first trilogy just kind of as one. It was solid, These were like the one movies, other than Hellboy in my opinion, that like really stood out in that era of superhero movies. And I'm glad that they were made. X-Men The Last Stand, the reason that is the weakest, and plenty of people have pointed this out, and it's a great point. Here's the thing, X-Men, and X2, those movies were able to be the one, the only superhero movies with Hellboy in that era that actually took the matter seriously, and they didn't resort to basically just bringing a comic book into the script, Like, because as much as I love comic books, they are nothing but unrealistic dialogue, too much dialogue, and quips. Just a bunch of random, non-funny jokes and one-liners. X-Men The Last Stand was absolutely full of those. The only joke that I really laughed at in the movie was when Wolverine was fighting the one guy that regenerates his limbs, and he kicks him in the nuts. He says, grow those back. That was good. I laughed at that. But yeah, that movie sucked. So because, I would give those, there's issues with them. So I would give both of those probably 8s. And then I would give this guy probably a 4. So about 6 out of 10 for the X-Men movies. That's just because I averaged all 3 together. But X-Men and X2, I say get solid 8s. X-Men First Class, it was pretty good. Again, you get the issue of having characters that aren't going to stick around for long, because they're obviously not. The problem with bringing in prequels and having brand new characters is it kind of breaks the immersion, because oh, they're not going to be there for a while. They're going to be dead or something. So because of that, I wasn't as connected with this movie, but it was a well-made movie. So I give it a 7 out of 10. Also, they fucked Darwin in the ass, and it pisses me off, so I'm not going to give them an 8. Darwin alone docks a point. Oh fuck, Days of Future Past is my favorite X-Men movie. It's so good. It's realistic, there's high stakes, it's serious, but you also get like the fun enjoyment of the first three. You know, it's basically Logan meets X2. There's not much that I can say that's wrong with it. Jennifer Lawrence is wrong with all of the X-Men franchise because I hate Jennifer Lawrence. I love, what's his name? Taft? I think it's Taft. Or Traft, I don't know. Midget guy, Peter Dinklage, his character. But this movie, I give an 8 out of 10. It's so much fucking fun. There's some things wrong with it, so I have to give it an objective rating. But enjoyment level, 10 out of 10 for me. X-Men Apocalypse, same amount of issues, not as enjoyable, kind of boring. It was kind of hard to connect with a lot of it. Apocalypse was extremely boring. All of his sidekicks were extremely boring. Storm, I didn't care that much about Storm in the first X-Men movies, and I cared about her way less in this. So this movie, same thing as First Class, 7 out of 10. The enjoyment level just wasn't there for a plethora of reasons, you know? Wasn't a poorly made movie, but entertainment value does have an influence, of course. But that's all the X-Men movies. Now we got, Spirited Away. Oh my fucking god. What a beautiful movie. My only thing is I kind of felt like pacing was a bit off. Pacing kind of felt weird. Like once we reached the end, I was like, oh shit, we're already here. Like it felt like, it just kind of felt like steady flow of nothing significant really going on, and then boom, ending. So I was like, oh shit, okay. That is the only thing. 9.5 out of 10. Beautiful movie. Born Identity was my next one. Jesus Christ, this was so fun. Born Identity was so much fun for me. It's just the kind of movie that I like. It's like the CIA Spec Ops mission movies mixed with Nathan Drake. It's so good for me. That's it. Like I love the adventure. All the characters were solid. I didn't feel. That is one thing about this, is like the villain is so integral to the story that it didn't feel forced whenever it cut away to the villain. Even the chick that kind of tagged along with him, she didn't do a lot, but she was still an enjoyable actress and enjoyable character. I can't think of anything wrong with the movie. Like anything. Oh fuck. Is Born Identity gonna get my top? I can't think of anything right now. Again, it's been a while since I've seen the movie. But Born Identity just got a fucking 10 lemons. Oh fuck. Next one is Venom. Jesus H. Christ. Yeah. Even the parts that like people said were like so bad it was good, I didn't even like those. Tom Hardy I like. He did the best acting that he could with the character and the direction. That's the only good part about the movie. His relationship with Michelle Trachtenberg? What's her name again? Michelle something. Extremely forced. There was no chemistry. The villain was the worst fucking villain ever, and I hated that. And I understand that the comics did it this way, but I hated that Riot was just a bigger, badder Venom. Venom wasn't funny. I didn't find Venom compelling. His quips with Tom Hardy were good, but that's just because Tom Hardy's a good actor. I didn't find Venom enjoyable. The movie gets, like, I straight up gotta give it, like, a 2 out of 10. There were some parts that I did laugh, and Tom Hardy's a good actor. Those are the only reasons, like, those are what give it a 2. Mission Impossible Fallout. Oh, Jesus Christ. What a forgettable movie. I love Henry Cavill as an actor. I love Tom Cruise. But, okay, this movie was kind of just, you know, everybody's main criticism of The Mummy was, like, it's either exposition or something gets blown up and giant chases with a mummy. The Mummy is basically just like Mission Impossible Mummy Edition. Because that's exactly what Mission Impossible Fallout was. It was, like, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Because I love the two main actors. Simon Pegg was great too, but I love the main actors. I love the act. Like, the movie's basically like half awesome choreographed action and half unbuyable dialogue between characters, and it's really just like shoving in exposition. Like, people are talking about stuff that they already know about, and I'm like, why are you talking about this? You couldn't show me it any other way. And like, the chest that he gets in the beginning literally just has a hologram, and it pulls. Nobody talks about this trope enough in movies. Okay, I gotta take these off too. These are starting to hurt. Nobody talks about this fucking trope in movies enough. The bullshit Now, here's the thing. I understand that exposition is necessary and vital for a story. I get that. And I agree that you need exposition. But Jesus Christ, people getting a video message or a hologram or a phone call or anything like that where it's like,
main character, stop. This is an emergency. Exposition, 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 exposition.
For 10 minutes. Movies will do this, and it pisses me off. Just because I understand that the main character has to find out the information, but Jesus Christ, pacing, subtlety, realism, these are good in movies. And stupid ass tropes like that, like when people get the phone calls or the video email messages of like
main character, this is what's going on in the world. This is what you need to do to stop it. You need to help us right now, or else this random possibility of the end of the plot will happen. And you need to make sure that the other possibility of the end of the plot will happen, which is the good one. We need you.
Fuck that. Oh, the Peanut Butter Falcon. What a simple, wholesome movie. Simple plot, simple cast, simple premise. Every single character, or at least every single main character, had a great arc. Fantastic arc. Acting was beautiful, beginning to end. I had no problems with this movie either. I could understand how for some people this style of movie, and it's not really artsy. Like, I told some people to watch it, they were like, oh, I don't like those artsy movies. It's not artsy, it's just not Marvel. If a movie isn't a Marvel movie nowadays, it's a fucking art house film. That's not the case here. It's not an artsy film. It's just simple, and you kind of need your thinking cap on for it. Sorry, guys. Another thing with this was kind of pacing, and the ending was a bit weird. Like, the pacing of the end was a bit off, and I didn't really care when Shia LaBeouf's co-workers came back. So because of that, 9.5 out of 10. Next one, Child's Play 2019. Oh, this fucking movie. Okay, now I never saw the first Child's Play, but I think that I like the idea of this Chucky much more than a cursed Chucky. I like that it's like a doll with all of the firewalls down and all that, and it's just constantly taking in information. I love that. And the movie did not take itself seriously. So, like, when the murder scenes happened, you weren't scared, but you weren't supposed to be scared. And the ending scene was actually kind of intense and action-packed. Biggest downfall to the movie, I'd say, is, well, first off, Aubrey Plaza wasn't great. I understand that that's her style of acting, of kind of the minimal acting, like okay, whatever. It worked in Parks and Rec. It doesn't really work when you're playing a mom. The kid actor was pretty good. He wasn't great, which I'm not going to hold that against him. It's hard to be a child actor. So I'd give this movie 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. I had a lot of good movies this year. There were only a couple that sucked. Mom and Dad was the next one. Holy fucking shit. Nick Cage comes back swinging his dick around again. He doesn't actually, like, his dick isn't in the movie. I'm just saying, like that's Nick Cage really made his, really stamped his name on another piece of art. This movie, there were some things that just didn't make sense. So, here's the thing. I have to dock it points, but that doesn't mean that I didn't fucking love it. It was a movie that so much was going on. Oh gosh, you don't even know how to talk about it, because it's so fucking crazy and so entertaining. A lot wrong with it. But that's okay, because you love it the entire way through. I'm going to give it now, like I said, I have to be objective, a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. Next one is Cabin in the Woods. This is my favorite horror movie of all time now. This movie, and I gotta get into this. This movie did something incredible. It did meta correctly. It actually pulled off meta right. You know? I brought it up to Ace, actually. And I think I even mentioned it in the podcast. A lot of things that movies get wrong is what I call the movie meta complex. Movies think that just because you are meta means that it solves for the issues in your movie. Like, usually the point of metas, like meta commentary, is to point out the cliches and say, hey, stop doing the cliches. But a lot of things will be meta and say, hey, you've already done this, but then they'll just go do it again, so it kind of ruins the meta. Cabin in the Woods doesn't do this. They make fun of the standard horror movie formula. They even make the joke that, like, oh, these monsters have to kill the athlete, the whore, the scholar, the fool, and the virgin. Those are the creatures that it has to kill, the virgin being optional. But they open a completely new world to it, and you obviously see at the end that that's not how it happens. They are meta about it. They make fun of the horror movie genre and then make it completely brand new. It's so hard to even talk about it because I want everyone to watch it, and it's so easy to spoil it. So I would say that if you're listening right now, just go watch Cabin in the Woods. It is one of my favorite movies of all time. But there was absolutely nothing wrong with The Cabin in the Woods, in my opinion. Nothing wrong. Another 10 out of 10. I have to give it. Okay, next one. This is a movie that literally no one has ever heard of. Understandably. It's called Sex Guaranteed. I was looking through Hulu for movies, and I just saw this, and I read the plot. The chick on the cover looked kind of hot, so I was like, hey, let's watch it. First off, main chick didn't even get nude, and she played a whore. So it's like, dude, you didn't even have the whore get naked. But that's okay. The movie actually wasn't that bad. It was forgettable, though. I talked about it a little bit to myself after I watched it. Here's the thing. Every time that I bring up something that is with the movie, it always goes back to if the writing was better, ... The actors were really great for the script that they had. And the plot was funny enough for the script that it came from. And the chain of events were interesting enough for the script that it came. Like, the other things were, like, good about the movie. They were pretty good. Like, the acting, there was not a bad actor in that. And it had the fat guy from Walking Dead in it, too. But the writing was just horrible. You know, the jokes didn't land. Like, you could tell that everything in the movie was trying so hard to make the script good. But the script was just not good. So I gotta give it an average 5 out of 10. Jesus Christ, next movie is Bye Bye Man. Horrible acting. Zero, like, the fuck. The horror creature was not compelling at all. The backstory didn't make sense. The premise, behind conjuring him is so fucking stupid. Don't say it or don't think it. Did you hear about the name? Did you tell anybody the name? That's not scary. How the fuck is that scary? That's worse than, Candyman. And Candyman is fucking stupid. Jesus Christ, this movie gets a 1 out of 10. I liked nothing. I couldn't even finish it all the way through. I watched halfway through and I just had to stop. Next movie, Scenic Route. This was one with Josh Duhamel and, like I said, the fat guy from The Walking Dead. And the movie's about, those guys, and they are kind of, broken down in the middle of the desert, and they're trying to, wait for people to come up, and, they're out of gas, or the car gets killed, so then they're just trying to survive out there. And you kind of see them deteriorate. It was okay. It was, alright. I'd probably give it, there's not really anything to say about it. 5.5 out of 10. I got nothing to say about the movie, which isn't good. Next one is Bates Motel. That's the TV show I watched. I watched it before, but I finished it now, and I've seen it all the way through. Oh my god. One of my favorite TV series. One thing that, the reason that I give it leeway for this is, like leeway, but also kind of criticism. They labeled themselves as a reboot of the Norman Bates story. They're not like retelling Psycho. You know, they're not giving like an origin story to Psycho. They're retelling. Ow, it just bit my fucking tongue. Really hurt. They're retelling the whole Norman Bates story, which I did like that they took that and made it original. But a big issue that I think comes with that is because they did it that way, I think a lot of people were expecting just Psycho. So when it was different from Psycho, I could understand when people were kind of like, wait, why is it like that? That's the only thing about it, but goddamn, chair gripping, teeth gritting, it gives you the chills. So much shit in it just like gives you a feeling of unease and tension, and the acting is beautiful. Freddie Highmore, a fucking geeky British boy playing a serial killer. Oh my god, how did they get that so perfectly? Vera Farmiga is amazing. Her character was kind of annoying, but she played Norma beautifully. There was not a single actor in the show that I thought didn't work. There were some characters that I thought were kind of but oh my god. It kind of dragged on some parts because they brought in characters and they needed to flesh out those characters, which, going back to the point I was making before of it not being Psycho, they don't focus on Norma and Norman all the time. They've got in a lot of new characters, and I think because of that, it's real easy to get bored because you really just want to see Norma and Norman. So because of that, again, I fucking love the show. In my opinion, the show is perfect, but on an objective route, I would give it an 8 out of 10. Yeah, so that's all the movies. You know what? The albums, just because I don't really understand music, like I said, I don't think I'm going to rate these. I think I'm just going to give my thoughts on them. It made sense for... So, no tart tunes. No tart tunes for this, but I will talk about the music. First album, Hollywood's Bleeding by Post Malone. That was an awesome album. I felt like it was a bit long, you know. I didn't think it should have been as long as it was. It was like 18 tracks. It was kind of hard to get to the end of the album. But it was a solid album. Some of the songs were kind of forgettable, but it had like 5 that were just fucking phenomenal. Post Malone is a really good artist, and you could he's like addressed before that he is genreless, and you really saw that in this album. There was like some kind of rock stuff, some hip hop stuff, some simple love songs in it that were really, really nice. Whole album was really good. Like, while some songs were weaker than others, you got a really nice mix of different genres, and he pulled them off because Post Malone has a style that like is so specific that if he can apply it to a genre, it works, and it's not a clash, you know? Like, the fact that you have love songs and rap songs and rock songs all on this, and they all feel like one, that's beautiful. Like kudos to Post Malone for that. We Need Medicine by the Fratellis. The Fratellis is one of my favorite bands of all time. They're a Scottish band, like punk rock band. We Need Medicine made me discover one of my favorite songs of all time, which is This Old Ghost Town. Absolutely beautiful song. I cannot get enough of that song. I still listen to it to this day, and I heard it literally at the beginning of this year. I've been listening to it for like a year straight, and I never get sick of it. It's such a good song. It's so energetic and vibrant, and this whole... Okay, there are like 3 songs in it that I really like, but the rest of them kind of suck. I didn't save the whole album of We Need Medicine. The only songs that are really good are This Old Ghost Town, Halloween Blues, and She's Not Gone Yet, but She's Leaving. Those 3 are really, really good songs. There's probably like the best of the Fratellis. They're really up there. But the album itself is not that good. Here We Stand by the Fratellis, kind of the same thing. There's only like a few that are really good. My Friend John, Shameless. Mistress Mabel is pretty good. And yeah, Tell Me a Lie. Those 4 songs are really, really great, but the rest are really forgettable. Like, I don't remember any other songs. Maybe Acid Jazz Singer. That one's kind of cool. But yeah, so that album was disappointment, but those songs were really a bonus. Oh fuck, Pursuit by Stuck in the Sound. I love almost every single song on this album. They're all so different, but they all work together. It's the same thing as Post Malone, you know? You get some songs that are really like high upbeat songs, some really slow ones, some wholesome love songs, some rock action rock songs, some are badass. Definitely one of my top picks for this. Okay, I think I'll do that. Because, first off, there's a lot of these albums. I will, at the end, since I'm not rating these, I will give my top 5 albums that I want you to listen to. Stuck in the Sound, fucking fantastic album. It is so good. The band is amazing. The songs work so well. It works so well as a collective. It's such a good album. Oh, fuck. We're getting into it. Okay, Bobby Tarantino by Logic. I'm not even going to talk long about this. Like, I've got a few Logic songs on here that I'm just going to skip over. I fucking hate Logic. I hate him so I hate his music so goddamn much. Because I've actually seen Logic talk in interviews and stuff. He's a really great guy. If I were to know Logic personally, and even when people hate his music, he talked about how, like, Anthony Fantano, the Needle Drop, he said that he fucks with him. Like he's like, yo, I fuck with how do you say his name? Fontano? Yeah, like, I fuck with Fontano because he loves to listen to people that don't like his stuff because he doesn't want to be stuck in an echo chamber. Logic himself is a great guy, but he sucks at rapping. He's so bad at rapping. His songs aren't catchy. His flow sounds like a broken blender. That's what his rapping sounds like, and I hate it. His music sucks. Like, I didn't like his music, and then all my friends, like, before... I only heard a couple of his songs, and I was like, he's not that good. Like I don't really like him, guys. They were like, just give him a listen. So I listened to almost every single one of his albums, and now I despise his music. So my friends ruined Logic for me. Logic ruined Logic for me. Yeah, I could have just stuck with the ignorance is bliss of just like, oh, his songs are kind of meh. But now they're fucking garbage. So I'm not going to talk about them anymore. But hey, Logic, seriously, he's a great guy. Like, I don't want this to be an insult towards Logic. I just hate how he raps, and I hate his music. But I don't want that to be a reflection on his personality, because he's a very genuine guy, and I love that. Whatever They Say I Am, That's What I'm Not by Arctic Monkeys. I've been trying to listen to all of Arctic Monkeys, and this album is one of their older ones. I've always found that, like, the older that they get, the better that they get with Arctic Monkeys for me. AM is... it's okay. It's average. The songs aren't bad, but like they don't punch out to me, you know? When I listen to Favorite Worst Nightmare, I'm on a fucking roller coaster ride all the way through, even with the slow songs. This is another song where it's like they kind of embrace the more like not as intense punk rock, which I really like. But the songs are still very driven, very action heavy, and I love that. That's a really good album. Ooh, Bangers and Ass by TMG. TMG's another one that like their music isn't really album specific, so I'm just gonna talk about TMG altogether. Holy fucking shit, they are so good. I fucking love their music. Their voices are amazing. Their flow is spot on. The beats are always different from each other, and they're very interesting. And because they don't take their songs seriously, like their songs are always about goofy shit, the songs are always great. Like they're not taking themselves seriously. Like usually you get rappers that want to make powerful songs. Like that was kind of my issue with Logic. Like people always said like,
oh, but he's good because he talks about racial issues and politics, and he talks about suicide.
Talking about important things isn't a crutch for bad music. And these guys talk about fucking like gaming and steroids and overeating and having small dicks, and their music is way better than Logic's, which makes my fucking day. I listen to them to this day. Like they're one of the few artists that I like constantly keep track of them releasing music, you know? I've got only those few that it's like I look out for when they upload or release new music, because damn, I love them. I am serious fans of TMG. Humbug by Arctic Monkeys. I don't remember a single song from this album. Um, yeah, that's all I can really say about it. I don't remember anything. It's pretty forgettable. It's not good. Again, like I said, I can't remember if Humbug came between Favorite Worst Nightmare and Whatever They Say I Am, but it just seems like the farther that they get, the worse that their music gets, because they're getting very mainstream, and I liked that they weren't mainstream before. That's why I listened to Favorite Worst Nightmare in 2016. I listened to a 2004 album in 2016. Yeah, Humbug, not that good, or I don't know, I can't remember. Vessels by 21 Pilots. Dude, I used to hate 21 Pilots. When I was 16, I despised 21 Pilots. I'll say this, their most popular songs, I hate them. Stressed Out is not good. Ride is kind of annoying. But I listened to Vessel. Vessel is so good. There's not one song on that album that I don't like. And they're all different. Jesus Christ, they made a good ass album. And it's an album that, like, it feels, even though that they're all different, it feels like it has a flow. So you don't have to don't shuffle Vessel when you listen to it. Listen to it all the way through. It is a near perfect album, in my opinion. Moving on to Trench by 21 Pilots. This one is not as good. A lot of songs are fantastic, and some songs are forgettable. So, like, where Vessels was like had no down spots, and they were all kind of at the same level. So, like, they're kind of here. Trench is kind of like here. So it makes up the difference. So they're both kind of the same, but that's because Vessels is either fucking amazing or meh. What was I? Oh, okay. So next album is Weirdo by Beck. Another one. Goddamn. It's like the songs were so different, yet it all flowed so perfectly together. It had such a strong aesthetic to it, a strong theme to it. But again, like, they all sounded the same, yet entirely different, which is perfect. That is how you want your music to be. Not much else to say, just a great album. Very interesting, unique songs. Oh, fuck. Eyes Wide, Tongues Tied. Going back to the other... So that's by the Fratellis. Going back to what I talked about with the other albums, how the albums themselves were forgettable, but they had some of those songs that were just beautiful. This album is nothing but those. They are all fan-fucking-tastic. This is one of my favorite albums of all time. Eyes Wide, Tongues Tied. It's so good. Even the additional song. Like, whenever there's extra music that people shove onto an album, like whenever they have their deluxe edition, it's usually not good. Like, most of the time, there's a reason that it wasn't put on the final cut. But Medusa in Chains, oh my gosh, I want that to play at my wedding. It's so beautiful. Gosh, it just feels so jazzy and so loving. Oh, god damn. Just want like a hug right now. That's how that song makes you feel. Just go listen to that song and tell me that you don't want a hug afterwards. But that song, that album, one of my favorites of all time. That's definitely going to be recommended in my top 5 out of this list. And then I've got 3 soundtracks from video games, actually. I've got the God of War soundtrack, Uncharted 4 soundtrack, and Skyrim soundtrack. I'm going to list these by order of remembrance, I guess. Skyrim, it's not that the songs were bad, but it's just there was so much. There were 53 songs on this, and one of the songs was 42 minutes. It was very hard for this song, or for this album, to be remembered because it was so much. The Uncharted 4 soundtrack was pretty forgettable. It works beautifully in the game. Like, the game, when you have the music going in the background, it just sets the atmosphere for adventure. And god damn, I love it. But listening to it on its own is not as exciting. Like, you should definitely just listen to it in the game. But the God of War soundtrack, Jesus Christ, Bear McCreary, fucking marry me right now. Marry me and we'll listen to Medusa in Chains. That that score, that soundtrack, I've come up with the formula because of that. Because of this album, I've come up with the perfect formula for a movie soundtrack, a video game soundtrack, any soundtrack. When you are watching the media that has the soundtrack in it, it should blend in so beautifully that it does not distract you whatsoever from the game. But when you listen to it outside of the game, it should distract you from everything else but that soundtrack. That sounds complicated, but basically, when you're playing God of War, the music, like, ties everything together so beautifully that you don't even notice it. It's like when you wear a shirt, you don't notice the individual threads in the shirt, but they're there and they are doing a lot, and they are making the shirt, and that is what that soundtrack was. But when you listen to the soundtrack just on its own, like when you're just not playing the game but you're just like walking somewhere and you listen to it, all you can think about is the soundtrack, because the songs are so dynamic and exciting and groundbreaking for a video game soundtrack. God damn, it is so good. It is the best score, one of the best scores that I've ever heard for any piece of media. My top 5 recommended albums, I would say, I want to try and keep this like for a general audience and not just my favorite, but like my most recommended for just the general population. God of War soundtrack, Eyes Wide, Tongues Tied, Hollywood's Bleeding, Pursuit, and let's just go with the whole TMG discography. Those are all of my recommendations. Those were all the ones that stood out for me the most in a good way. Sorry, Logic. But guys, this was a long video for me to record, but that's all that, like, I finally did my New Year's resolution. You know, I said them in the past, but I never did them the same as everybody, but like I finally did it, you know, and I feel so happy about it. That I feel accomplished. Like I feel like not that I understand music more, but that I'm more in the realm of music. And I feel like I understand film more because I've seen many types of films. You know, kind of. There were a lot of superhero ones in there. Just mainly just X-Men. I understand X-Men movies really well though. So man, but that's all I gotta say. Thank you guys so much for watching this with me. I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday. That's really all that I can say. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.